Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. So yeah, this week I'm going to see if I can get to anything that I plan to do. Again, thanks for joining and thanks for watching. So the next priority that I need to do is to get obviously the augmented reality to be higher quality, to be much better, so that it looks much better when we record it. So I'm going to work on getting the augmented reality. I did actually yesterday work a little bit in my front yard or the garden here to see if I can get it right. We're sitting with Eloise, the cyclone that's over us, so it's very windy and rainy. But yeah, I have to work on that this week. So the plan is to get the recording for the augmented reality better. As soon as I get that right, then from there I need to prepare more scenes for Magersfontein. A buddy of mine went to Magersfontein about a couple of days ago. And as we went to Magersfontein, we actually did a couple of shots there. The first stuff that happens on the battlefield, and see how much can we record actually while we're there on the battlefield itself. It wasn't that easy because the problem that we have is there was a lot of rain. And the rain that we actually had there in Magersfontein did actually boycott us for getting into different places. For example, there by the blockhouse at Modderrivier, we couldn't almost get in there. It was so muddy, and it was the place where the British were next to the river. We couldn't get in there. It was just too muddy. So we did try to shoot. I think we did 2 shots there, and from there we went over to Magersfontein. When we went to Magersfontein, it doesn't look the same as it did in the battle itself. Nature took a lot of it back, and there's a lot more trees. And the time when the battle was there was no trees at all. So yeah, we went there and did a couple of shoots there, but it doesn't really sketch the whole idea of how did it actually look, because it's so green. Those people had so much rain. I'm so glad for them. But it was really, really cool. We were also actually were blessed to went into some of the parts of the trenches that not a lot of people is going, and those trenches on the left hand side, around the left hand side, remember that trenches was more than 16 kilometers. We could actually see that the Boers that was laying there didn't have enough time to dig their trenches, so they actually just stacked about rocks about 2 feet high, and they were laying behind the rocks. And what we did find out there, and what you always think, is if you go to Magersfontein battlefield, there in front of the copy where the museum is, everything happened there with the Black Watch, where they actually walked into this specific place where they were shot. If they actually walked into, that's where everything happens. But yeah, it's true, that is the main part of the first couple of minutes of the engagement. But then from there, when the sun did come out, some of the British that tried to want an outflank, and they actually went on the left hand side towards Modderrivier, around there, where there's Boers were laying just behind this 2 feet of rock. And the battle, that was actually where the competition was, because the British did have a chance there, and the Boers wasn't well digged in, so they were actually, I think the main or the more complicated part of the battle was over there. Anyway, so we went to that battles and to that trenches, and it was so cool that you can see that there wasn't a lot of people there yet. So you can see how the rocks were stacked and where the cannons were standing, everything. So yeah, we want to actually tell both sides of the stories. We want to tell the stories of what the Brits and the Scots did go through, what did the Boers experience, what is the planning around it, what did they do, where was the mistakes, and this is what we're trying to achieve here. So because we went to Magersfontein and we couldn't capture all the scenes that we wanted to capture, we had to scout around the area close. I'm staying in Johannesburg, in Krugersdorp, so I must be around here somewhere where it's safe, where we can actually go and work in a veld, and we can set up the cameras there. Or if I say we mostly just 2, so it's not like a big crew. Set up the cameras there and see if we can capture the augmented reality in areas that look similar to what it was at Magersfontein. I would like to go back to Magersfontein. There's a lot of places that I would still like to go and shoot there. But obviously this I'm only doing as a hobby, and money and hobby, I mean, it's time consuming, and obviously, like I said, I just do this as a hobby. So, but I would like to go back there. There's a lot of places that I still want to shoot there, and a lot of places to capture. We actually met some of the local guys there while we were waiting for the couple of things that set us back for we can't shoot for 2 days For example, the one day it was raining so much we couldn't even shoot one scene. And then there was load shedding as well. So if you're working there in the field and your equipment, the batteries is getting flat and you need to charge them, we need to go back wherever we can get a plug to charge it again. So there was load shedding as well. We actually went into the museum there at Magersfontein and it was totally dark. So we had to open the door and put a little table in front of the door so we can just have a look inside it while we were waiting for the power to come back on. So this is all things that make it a little bit more complicated. But anyway, so yeah, I want to set up this week more scenes for Magersfontein. I'm staying across the school to get access. I'm actually going to ask them to get access to the rugby field. I was actually a coach there, that's why this jersey is here. So I don't think they will have a problem for me going and work on the rugby field a little bit, because it's nice and flat there and it's open for me staying in the city. Set up a couple of scenes there, test it, see how it looks like, and see actually how many of this high definition augmented reality characters and items we can put into the scene before we record it. And yeah, I want to show you guys a little bit of how I'm doing this. So getting the facts together from Magersfontein. If anybody wants to comment at the bottom and give us a little bit more content on Magersfontein that you can't read up on the wiki pages or wherever. For example, what we did find out, one of the questions that we had there while we were at Magersfontein is the trenches that they dig. When did they dig, a day or night time? This was one of the questions that we asked just for interesting sake. And yeah, we actually found out from the locals there, which makes totally sense. And I mean, you guys can say in a comment what you think is. They say the trenches was digged at nighttime for two main reasons. One, it was cool. It wasn't that hot, because remember they were there when it gets about 30, 35 degrees. And second is the dust. If they dig the trenches at night, then the British sitting at Modderrivier, that's about 3 kilometers away from there, they won't see the dust that will come up from this 16 kilometers of trenches that was digged in. And this is stuff that we want to tell in the story. So we can actually make the augmented reality history correct and leave a legacy for our kids and anybody, all the kids overseas and the veterans and the old guys overseas, to get the correct stories, because we're planning to do more history sites. If you guys liked it, we want to go and do Robben Island where Nelson Mandela were. We want to go and do the Bush War, the border war that we did fight in. I was also in the Defense Force for 3 years. I didn't went there because I'm too young. I mean, I only went to the army in 1991. So, but the guys before me, when they fight on the border war there, I actually want to go and do that as well. Again, if you guys like the content, it's all about the viewers. So that's a plan for the week. Let's see if we can get augmented reality clear. Let's see if we can make it high definition and look nice. And later I'm going to start building on some scenes that we're going to shoot at Voortrekker Monument in the field, because we went and scouted there in the field in the Voortrekker Monument, that we can add on to the documentary for Magersfontein. So it's going to be a very cool week. Again, guys, just be patient. We do this as a hobby, so it's not things that we can record every day. But I'm going to put in the effort after hours, after work, to get this up and going this week. Thanks for watching.